Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That theme music means it's time for our weekly conversation with Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. You know, Amy, we were talking about public transit earlier in the program with the CEO of the Transit Authority in New York calling for more expansive bans on anyone who commits a violent crime in the subway system or on a bus. So that's one issue, is public safety from criminals. Another issue in Chicago appears to be public safety from the actual employees at the Transit Authority. This from WTTW, Wilmette talking to Winnetka.
Love that.
The CTA is under fire from passengers and politicians complaining about long waits, inconsistent service, and so-called ghost buses and trains. There are actually people that still want to use the CTA, or perhaps just need to. I still, I'd like to get a little update on ridership and how these mass transit, how these transit systems are making ends meet, and what the outlook for them is once the COVID funny money runs out.
I remember during COVID, it was just it was empty buses traveling down the street.
Well,
nobody was on them
but
back then.
But I say that because, if the feds aren't going to continue to subsidize public transit in Chicago, you can be sure you are. So it's just a question to throw out there. Maybe Ted will have some insights. But this is about the work week. A TTW analysis of work records from 2015 to 2021 shows a growing number of employees paid for long average work weeks, which transportation experts say raises questions about worker and passenger safety, as well as the agency's bottom line. But on the safety piece, well, right. So, for example, 33 operators in the CTA were paid for average work weeks of 80 hours or more annualized. Really? You're working 80 hours a week driving one of those CTA trains. One train operator was paid for an average work week of more than 100 hours.
You don't want that person driving the train because there's a fatigue factor there?
Well, right. I mean, just like over-the-road truckers and so forth,
right.
Pilots, right? I mean, sort of the same concept. But also, really, a CTA train operator average 100 hours a week, that's 14-plus hours a day every day.
It seems a little...
So maybe there's a
far-fetched.
Maybe there's a fraud question about the CTA operation too, which wouldn't be the first one. Let's start there with our friend Ted Dabrowski, who joins us now. Ted, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
What about with the massive money pit that is mass transit?
It's interesting you mentioned this, and your timing is right. Greg Hines wrote a piece over there on the business-friendly cranes.
Yeah,
I think it was yesterday, that the looming fiscal cliff, in quotes, that the RTA, the Regional Transit Authority, the Metra, faces when again, no surprise, when the public money runs out, all the COVID money, all the COVID support, when it runs out in 2026, they're going to be short about 20% of their operating costs. And so, hint for those who don't understand, that means, hey, fare increases and maybe some cuts to service. But there's no way that these systems can operate. I rode the Metro yesterday, not at peak hour, but not very trafficked. You get to the station, it's empty, and you know fundamentally that these things can't operate. In good times they can't operate on a market basis. So obviously right now they're going to be in huge trouble. So this is all part of the either increasing bailouts or massive fare hikes.
And the CTA, I mean, it's just such a poster child. So let me understand something. We're going to have to pay more for something I don't use, don't want to use that is less safe. That's your value proposition. That's your pitch to me. We're going to increase the cost to you for something you either don't use or would prefer not to use, and it's also increasingly unsafe.
Yeah, we ran the numbers on that. My colleague Matt Rosenberg ran the recent numbers on the CTA crimes, and and they're scary, and it's not, and the violent crimes in percentage terms. Of course, there's fewer people on there now, but the percentage of violent crimes have jumped. So, pay more, and you run the risk of getting beat up, or we've all seen the ugly video of that poor guy getting hit with a bottle. It's scary stuff, and again, like all this stuff, it's not sustainable, and it's unhealthy. It's everything negative that you can think of, and with property tax bills coming out and all that, we only know that our property taxes and other taxes are going to go up. So everything costs more. You get worse service. Again, that always makes other cities more attractive.
But some people seem to be, sucking off the what. What is this 80 hours, 100 hours of work for overtime for CTA employees? Is there any way to verify that?
Yeah, but this is standard stuff for me when I look at this stuff. If you're looking at police work, if you look at any public sector work, you see all kinds of crazy things like this. We were just looking at so this happens. People know how to game the system. They know how to get hours. It's a sad part of what happens, but it happens all the time because it's easy to game and you get paid a lot more. And some people are put at risk, and that's when it's not fair, when we put our policemen at risk. But other people know how to game the system. So, and we're just looking at superintendent who's now getting $300,000 for a school district that has, I think, 400 students, Burr Ridge, getting massive pay. Nobody can read there, but they're getting their $300,000. It's all part of the system.
Nobody can read in Burr Ridge?
Well, the numbers are horrible. 10%, 15%, just like everything we've been reporting. It's becoming amazing at how many places where the kids can't read, just can't read.
It's Burr Ridge. Wow.
Yeah. Well, if your schools are centers to train activists rather than places to educate children, it doesn't matter if it's Burr Ridge or the South Side very much, does it?
Well, that's that, and it doesn't matter where you work, you're going to get paid. So as long as you're in the public sector, and with Amendment 1 and all that, you're going to be even more protected. So,
talking about Amendment 1, by the way, just in terms of, as a quick aside, because I want to talk Safety Act, but Amendment 1 and just the prospect for some sort of opposition to the established power structure in the city and the state. The new House and Senate superminority Republican leaders both voted for Amendment 1.
That's correct.
So what does that tell you about this one-party state, Ted?
Well, that's a conversation I've been having with I guess people in this out there. Yeah, they voted for the green energy bill, right? The most extreme energy bill in the country. Amendment 1. So we have a lot of work to do to flip people into how they think about being in the opposition, and that if you keep doing the same, then you'll be a continuously shrinking super minority, which it's kind of hard to imagine being a smaller super minority, but that's where we're headed if we continue to vote the same way.
Well, maybe they'll be able to pitch a shutout before the decade's out. So speaking of those dimwits, at least we drew enough attention to the Pritzker Purge Law, the so-called Safety Act, to keep Republicans in line on these cosmetic changes that we predicted when you were on with us last week. And you and Matt Rosenberg, John Klingler have done a couple of pieces analyzing the changes, which have been very good, and making the point that, boy, all of a sudden there were amendments flying around in the closing days of the veto session, but I thought that anybody who had any criticism of the Safety Act was a racist and a fearmonger.
Yeah, you're a racist, you're wrong, just like Pritzker was saying about education results, we're wrong. Well, yeah, I think, I don't think you can understate what just happened. You should overstate what just happened because, in Illinois, we're all depressed about how we have the inability to get reforms. And look, the safety bill continues to be a bad bill, no matter all those improvements that were made just now, and it should be, undone and then redone. But it's important to point out that the work that you guys did, the work that we did, the work that so many people, all those state's attorneys, there were a lot of horrific things that were in that bill that they wanted. The other side wanted. They wanted it badly. And I was just reading, what's his name, Tarver. I'll come back to that. But it's amazing. Despite all the racist calls and all that, they needed a supermajority to get all that stuff fixed. And it was a supermajority that did all that. There were no Republicans on it. And if they hated it, and if it was wrong, and if it was racist, then why the hell did that supermajority, right? They didn't need a 50% plus one. They needed a supermajority, 3/5, and they got it, and they passed all those changes. So it's a big win for our side. And I think what it shows is, if we're a sustained campaign, strong campaign, everybody in, point out the truth, and this is all based on the truth, right? We weren't making up numbers. These are all things that were true, which is why they were forced to change them. So I think it's a huge win for the reform side.
Even though the net
on our laurels.
Yeah, even though the net is, it still makes Illinois less safe.
Correct, and I think what we have to think about is how we make the changes to bail toxic, and that's a harder lift, but I think it can be done. We need to work on that. It has to be a sustained effort.
So how is bail going to work under the Safety Act and these amendments?
There is no bail, right? So that continues. There's no longer bail as part of the reform, as part of the criminal justice, and here's why that's important. Today, before bail's taken away, a judge who's got a bad guy in front of him, knows maybe that they can put them back on the street with a high bail, which would ensure that the guy comes back to court, and two, doesn't misbehave, right? If the bail's high enough, he or his parents who bail him out have an incentive to keep him out of trouble, have an incentive to keep him away from victims. Well, that's what bail is for. It's kind of a middle-of-the-road way of managing a bad guy. Under the new system, there is no bail. So either that person's detained or let out. Right. And, in our decarceration world that we're in, judges make that mistake over and over to let people who shouldn't be out at all, or maybe they would be out on bail and behave and have this incentive to behave. Well, that's gone. And so we're putting judges in a tough spot where they're either going to detain people they shouldn't detain, or they're going to let out tons of bad guys who maybe could have been managed with bail. Now they're out on the streets, no incentive. Look, they get arrested, they're out the next day, no bail. They can go repeat the act. And we've already seen that happen in Cook County. So expect it just to be a replay of what we've seen in Cook County.
Ted Dabrowski, President, Wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Ted, thanks as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Hi, it's Amy, and MyPillow is excited to bring you their biggest bedding sale ever, just in time for Christmas. Get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98 and a set of pillowcases for only $9.98. Rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. They also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles. They even have blankets for your pets. Get duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows, bolster pillows, and so much more, all with the biggest discounts ever. MyPillow is also extending their money-back guarantee for Christmas until March 1st, 2023, making them the perfect gifts for your friends, your family, and everyone you know. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Amy or call 800-489-0201, and you'll get huge discounts on all MyPillow bedding products, including the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98. Get all your shopping done while quantities last. Again, use promo code Amy, A-M-Y, for the best possible discounts. All right. I'm doing it every day around this time, taking Balance of Nature. Why? Not getting any fruits and vegetables on my own, or hardly any. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. They take the fruits and the veggies, and they put it through what's called the vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. And then they put that into capsules, and voila, maximum nutrition. 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real science, real nutrition, It's a nutrition that your body needs. It's the nutrition that your body craves. So be one of the cool kids and order your bottles of fruits and veggies